I'm Arden Sonnenberg, and I live in Sterling.
I see.
And I would like to know 3 initiatives that you would pursue as a state senator: an economic initiative, an environmental initiative, and a family initiative. And then I would also, if I can ask 2 questions, I'd like to know how you will engage dialogue with the people of Sterling and within our district to continue some sort of dialogue so we understand where you stand on an ongoing basis. We get to listen to the candidate speeches all the time, but then we don't always get a forum for that. So I'd like to know what you would do to continue the dialogue around the issues as you move forward.
Okay, ED, Economic Development, Bob, sorry.
Okay.
Economic, environmental, and family.
Okay, and to both candidates?
Both candidates,
Okay.
yeah.
Economic development. Economic development, we have to start thinking regionally. I've represented cities and towns throughout my entire career in the legislature. We have to start thinking regionally, not only from an aspect of transportation and public transportation, but from a pure economic development standpoint. And what I mean by that is this: if we have a company that wants to come into the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and relocate to Gardner or to Fitchburg or to Leominster, because there are various pad-ready sites that are available there, and that's the principal need. Now, we bring them in, we work as a unit as North Central Massachusetts. I don't know what the Montechusett region is. It's North Central Massachusetts, and it's branded affordable in Massachusetts. We bring them in because ultimately, even though the industrial tax base for Gardner, Fitchburg, or Leominster, Lancaster, or Sterling would be increased, those jobs, those skilled workers are going to come from Sterling, from Bolton, from Lancaster, from Fitchburg. Now, will that eventually lead to revenue sharing and employee sharing if Ashby is uniquely situated for a federal grant of some sort and they want to borrow a grant writer from Fitchburg in the hopes and expectation that someday down the road Ashby may be able to repay Fitchburg in some other way by some other mutual aid agreement? That's what we have to do, is start thinking regionally. I got to get to the environment and family. Maybe we can do that soon. Okay.
Okay. Let's, 30 seconds more on the time. We'll do the same for... Okay.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
Environmental initiatives facing Sterling, Lancaster, Leominster, and to a lesser extent, Leominster and Clinton. What was it? It was the first question out of the gate. The cities and towns need the autonomy to act on their own. But what you need to understand is the state senator's job is to bring all of these cats together, herding the cats together on the weaky-peaky issue. I know that was a bit of a poor analogy, but to get them together, that's leadership. To start thinking regionally, environmentally as well. I can think of no better vehicle than the weaky-peaky issue to ensure that the agreement is palatable to all involved. I have to talk regionally about what many people in these communities see as a parochial issue. I'll get to family in just a minute.
Representative Flanagan, you have 3 minutes to answer those 3 probing questions.
Well, I think one of the most important things that we can do for economic development is happening. We have the Economic Development Council up here in North Central Massachusetts, and we're putting together the inventory of sites that are open and are ready to be entered into for different kinds of companies. And I think that that's important because you have many regions coming together to say, hey, listen, we know that if you're going to have a company in Gardner, that you may employ people from Westminster and Ashby and Fitchburg and Leominster and Lancaster. We know that people in Leominster who are working at some of our manufacturing companies are from the surrounding towns. We get this. As a legislature, we've put money into this Economic Development Council for the last couple of years, and they're around the state. So each region has something like this because it's important that we see the fruits of our labor. I think when it comes to family, You know, there is a couple things that I do, and it's been criticized before, and that's fine. I am a big advocate of school nursing. I think families need to know that their children are in schools and that they're safe and they have health care available to them. We have children in our schools that are much more medically complex now than they used to be. It goes well beyond asthma and allergies. I mean, we have kids with trachs, and we have kids with feeding tubes, and we have kids that are diabetic as young as the 3rd grade. We can't expect them to calculate their own insulin. We can't expect teachers to be their nurses. And so that's one of the things that I want to work on. The other one that I'm very proud of, that I'm going to continue to work on, is harboring a minor. For many of the foster parents out there and for many of the kids that are involved in DSS, it's not against the law to harbor a minor in the state of Massachusetts. And the DA's office and Judge Erskine from the Worcester Juvenile Court and myself are working to change that, because these kids need to be safe. I once had a child say to me, "You'd much rather have me sleep on a street than sleep in somebody's house?" And I looked at her and said, "Absolutely. Because if you're on the street, then we know there's a problem. If you're in somebody's house, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going to happen to you or where you're going to be taken or where you're going to go." So I think that there's some of the things that we can do. But I also think that it's important that we have a collective effort. Like I said before, my job as a legislator right now for the city of Leominster is to be a partner with the city government and to be a partner with the city. As a senator, I'm going to become a partner to the cities and towns within the district, all 11 cities and towns, not specifically one. I have a very strong record of constituent services. People call my office daily, weekly, monthly, just to find out what's going on. I have the ability and I have the necessity to let people know what we're doing on Beacon Hill. And I think that through websites and through newsletters and through phone conversations and simple emails. I have people that I've been talking to for 2 years that I've never met, but they email me, you know, every other week about an issue that's important to them. And those are some of the issues that we can take advantage of now. Those are some of the resources that we have and that I'm going to continue to do.
Thank you. Representative, excuse me.
I just have the family issue. A sentence.
Go ahead.
Pre-K and all-day kindergarten, and to find the revenue streams that will do that statewide. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How do you plan on engaging voters in cities and towns once you are elected? We have 2 minutes to respond to this.
Okay. You know, I think some of the things that I reiterated, you know, there are ways through, whether it be through email, whether it be through phone calls, whether it be through joint meetings or going before boards of selectmen or going before community groups, that there are ways to come out and to talk to the communities. I work very diligently to make sure that I have contact with my constituency and to let them know what's going on. Sometimes they'll call up about a bill that we've never heard of, and you know, they'll always get an answer back, and that's not going to change if I'm elected the next state senator. I just think it's important that the people of the district know what their legislators are doing and know how hard that they're working for them on Beacon Hill.
Thank you.
I spent nearly 5 terms in the House of Representatives representing a wide array of communities, cities and towns, and I made it a point to go into every community, whether it was at the band concert on the Ashby Green on Wednesday nights, whether it was the band concert on the Upper Common in Fitchburg, or on Academy Hill in Westminster, or in Winchester Park in Ashburnham, or at the Monument Park in Gardner, every Saturday night. And the reason, and what I would hear, which I thought was rewarding, was that, "Brian, I've been meaning to call you, this is my issue." And I would hear that a lot. And you know what that told me? That told me I was accessible. That told me I was out into the community, talking to the people, because I enjoy it. I'm walking door to door now in several communities, and I like meeting the people. And so I will continue that. I was one of the hardest working legislators and this was other people telling me this. I like doing the job. And at the end of the day, if you like what you do, then quite frankly, everything falls into place automatically. I also had a very dynamite staff, too, as well at the time, and they are deserving of a whole bunch of credit. Fagan France and Amy Shealy. That's what their names.
Thank you.
Okay.